It's way colder out tonight than I thought it was going to be. Freezing fog? Freezing fog? That's not weather. That's a weird cocktail you get at a hipster bar made by a guy named Dream with face tattoos. It comes with Earl Grey tea and a gin whiskey hybrid and a hand-carved glass ice orb. Freezing fog. That's the color of a Fall Raven shirt. That's not a weather. Welcome to Silver Moon, my friends. New venue, who dis? You're obviously having a great time because only 3 people are paying attention. Hi, Julianne. Nice to see you. New venue, who dis? Happy New Year, everyone. Hi, friend. It's going to take a minute. You know there's 4 people at McMenamins looking for free tots right now, just like. How many of you went to McMenamins first? It's okay if you did. They throw you out on your rump. You had to cross downtown. A lot of potholes in downtown. That's scary business. All right, my friends, let's pull it together. Happy New Year. Welcome to PubTalk. If you're sitting next to someone who's chatting, tell them to stop. Direct their attention to the front of the house, as I like to call it, an evening at the Improv. Well, thank you all for coming out. It's wonderful to see you all. I was very much looking forward to tonight. Roger's gone, so we're just going nuts. It's going to be a great evening. Steve and his team here at Silver Moon, I know y'all have been in Bend forever. Would you open up in like 1897? Silver Moon has been here forever. Thank you for having us. It's great to be here. Thank you for welcoming PubTalk with open arms and making it easy for us to make the change. Whose wild friends are in the back talking so, it's at top volume back there. Everybody turn around and give them a dirty look. I just want to let everyone who just stopped talking know you just missed about 10 minutes of killer material. All right, so. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you to our MC sponsor, OSU Cascades. OSU Cascades is developing an innovation district that will help businesses innovate, launch, and grow in Central Oregon. The 24-acre district will be on campus, which will allow businesses to co-locate close to university expertise, labs, student interns, and economic support organizations. To learn more and help OSU Cascades unlock new economic opportunities for the region, attend the market sounding on February 4th, and you can register online via their website. All right, should we get this party started off with a director's minute? What do you have for us 3 weeks into the role, John Stark? Get on up here. Where are you, my friend?
What do I have for you?
Give it
I have a bet. I have a bet with Erin Riley that I can do this without taking my mask off. She said, if you take your mask off, then everyone else does too. So I'm going to keep my mask on. I don't want to lose that bet. The going rate is about $100 a bet around EDCO. So I definitely don't want to lose that. How many of you have heard of the Great Resignation? Holy smokes. That's my first 3 weeks at EDCO. I don't know who to blame for that.
Don't look at me.
So EDCO's not insulated from that. We've got 4 openings of 12 positions, right? We have not been insulated from it either. It's a unique opportunity, though, with that. And, you know, anytime you get into trying times, you got to figure out a unique set of solutions, right? We're going to hear about that on the stage tonight. And, you know, one of those, a couple of those positions were through transition, a couple through resignation. I was a transition. I transitioned from Redmond over to the main office here in Bend. And we have one other transition because one of our team members is at our last PubTalk tonight. And I want to take an opportunity to recognize Elise Rossman, who's been our marketing director and done a lot of stuff behind the scenes. Give it up for Elise. So Elise has invested 5 years with us at EDCO, and I applaud her opportunity. She's going back to a career that she had in live music, following her heart. And I said, so I get free concert tickets, right? She said yes, but I know that comes with a bill, probably $100. So, we have some openings, and if you're interested, we have a director position in Redmond. We have a internship coordinator. We have this thing called a venture catalyst. You guys ever heard of that? Never. And oh, by the way, we've got a marketing position. So if you're interested, go to our website, edco.com/careers, and take a look at it. But what I want to talk about tonight a little bit is, anytime there's a challenging time, right, that's when innovation happens, right? So great ideas come around, perseverance, creativity, and that's where we are with EDCO. We're looking at, how do we focus inward in the years ahead, invest in our staff, give them the tools they need to be successful. And I think that's what companies have to do today, right? Adapt or die. And I was thinking about like perseverance and where we are. Anybody fatigued from the pandemic? Right? We all are. And as I thought about this tonight, I was at a luncheon last week with Prineville Economic Development. A guy named Matt Walker, who was a philosopher by education, who became a mountaineering guide, and then an author, and then a business coach. And he wrote a book called Adventure Everything. And so this guy, he decides to climb Everest, right? And he climbs Everest, and he gets to the top, and he's disappointed. And he runs into like serious depression at the top of Mount Everest. And when he went into his story, he's like, everything was so prescribed. All the guides loaded my packs. I had a map and a route on how to get up there. There was 10,000 people on the mountain while I was there. They could predict the weather within 95% accuracy on what minute I needed to leave to get to the summit. So his depression was there was no risk, right? And so he got off the mountain, and he decided he was going to climb the 8th tallest peak in the world, solo, instead of with the guides, no prescriptions, because he wanted the risk. He wanted to learn. He wanted to challenge himself, challenge his body, challenge his mind, his preparation. And as I think about that in the times that we're in, that's what we have to think about with our people, right? There was an adage years ago called love 'em or lose 'em. I don't own credit to this. There was a company that I worked for a long time. They did a lot of leadership development. And they came up with this theme, love 'em or lose 'em. And I think at the end of the day, you have to invest in your people in this time. You have to get to understand what their needs are, their hierarchy of needs. You have to meet those needs, train them, provide professional development opportunities, wash their car, go get their dry cleaning, or something that's of value to them. Love them or lose them. And at the end of the day, we're hearing a lot of companies today that have completely flipped their hiring processes upside down. Instead of interviews, their sales processes to onboard people. They've created more efficiencies in their hiring process so they can get those people up to speed much faster. So people adapt or they die. And so that's what we're thinking about today is how do we invest in our people to create what is EDCO ahead? And so in the spirit of entrepreneurship, right, we all know that when someone leaves a position, right, leaves your company, it costs 100 to 150% to replace that talent. And so those cost companies a lot of money. It's better to love them than to lose them in that case. So that's something we're focused on today, but in the spirit of entrepreneurship, it's okay that we're not at rest today, that we have some challenges in front of us, because at the end of the day, some really good things come from that. And so I'm looking forward to be standing here a year from now saying a different story. So thanks for giving me a few minutes today.
Thanks, John. John, that's so well said. I appreciate that very much. Love them or lose them. You gotta take care of people, right? We all win when we all win. When everyone's doing great, things get better for everyone. It's science. Okay, we are able to host PubTalk tonight, both in person and virtually, thanks to our generous event sponsors. This is one of my favorite parts of the program. Jordan Smith, President and CEO at Vlox Systems. Jordan, get on up here.
Hello. Whoa. Hey, my name is Jordan Smith. I'm with Vlox Systems. We do business computer support. So we're a managed IT service provider here in Central Oregon. And this is awesome. There's a lot of people here, and we're packed into a very, very tight space, which I'm excited about. But yeah, so welcome. Thanks to Edco for putting this on. Cool new mix up to the location. We get to see all the traffic on Greenwood here drive by. Really stoked to start off the night tonight and have an awesome pub talk. One of the things we find ourselves really helping with in the light of the Great Resignation is employee onboarding. Like, there's a lot of things that have to happen when you hire somebody to make them effective as soon as possible. And so we've had a really good time working with our clients, figuring out how to do that with setting up computers, user accounts, email addresses, training, all that stuff that happens. And usually somebody in your company has to think of all of that, put that all together, and then spend a few days doing it. We found some technology that kind of makes that a little bit quicker and a little bit more effective, and you can do several at a time if you're in that rhythm right now. Also, when people leave, it's really easy to turn off that access and keep it secure. So those are the things we have found ourselves kind of specializing in and providing some value for. So if you have any interest or any questions about that, come find me afterwards. But I'm excited to give the stage away to the lawyer and the banker and the
candlestick maker.
Health care providers. And so we'll let them come up next.
Thanks, Jordan. Drinking wine at a brewery. I like your style.
It's class.
Always doing it your way. Yeah, this is something happening right now. That's the sound of the Great Resignation. It's like, whoa. It's intense. All right, next up, Kurt Barker, partner at Best & Krieger, formerly known as Carnot Peterson. Kurt, I cannot wait to hear what you have to say.
I think we're good now. Yay, amen.
Jiggle the handle.
Okay.
You got to jiggle the handle.
Jiggle the handle, thank you. Speaking of adapt or die, I've only had one chance on PubTalk stage to talk about our merger, so I got to cover that tonight. Then we'll do something fun. That Carnot Peterson name is now Best & Krieger. It's official as of January 1 of just this month. We're now part of a 250-lawyer multi-state team with offices all across California and DC, and now we're the Oregon beachhead. We're thrilled to do it. It's still the same local team right here. I want you to know we sought this merger out. We approached Best & Krieger to keep up with the region demands. Our clients have grown, their need for legal services have grown, and in order to, part of our strategic plan has been to bring in more talent. That's what we're doing with Best & Krieger, and we did it without losing our culture, losing our community connections and values. So, real quick, I'm thrilled to report it's gone great this first month. Clients are already taking advantage of the cyber law, healthcare expertise, mergers and acquisition expertise that we can bring in all under the same roof now. It's been a fantastic experience. But I do want to say one last thing. The firm, Carnot Peterson formerly, we like to think it has a bit of a legacy. You know, community service, we're the longest running PubTalk sponsor. Collegiality, putting clients' interests first. That's going to do nothing but grow under BBK. They share the same values. So I don't know if I have much of a personal legacy here, but I do like to give away booze at PubTalk. That's kind of my jam. I think my email address needs to go on the screen. So whoever, while the next sponsor is talking, we're going to do this much smoother this time. Whoever emails me the answer to my question will be the proud winner of a BBK insulated mug for their bottled in bond Oregon Spirit Distillers. This is really awkward without a podium that I can put stuff on, I gotta tell you. Bottled in bond Oregon Spirit Distillers, you have to try this. Okay. So Carnot Peterson has been around for, we need that slide up, Matt, with my email address. Carnot Peterson's been around for over 80 years. How long has BBK been around? Email me the answer to kurt.barker@bbklaw.com. kurt.barker@bbklaw.com. How long has BBK been around?
How long has BBK been around? kurt.barker@bbklaw.com. I think there's supposed to be a slide, Matt. Are you slacking back there? Or, there we go. Thank you. You're doing great, Matt. Was that a gin whiskey hybrid you're giving away, Kurt, or just a regular bottle of booze? Next up, Julianne Horner, Account Executive, Providence Health Plan and EDCO Board Member. Welcome.
Well, hello, everybody. Happy New Year. Isn't that a great thing to say right now? Happy New Year, because last year is behind us. And for us, the new year brings a lot to look forward to. We actually take this time, just like many of you, and do a nice little pause in January and look back and see if we met our goals and our objectives. And like you felt like you were on a circus roller coaster that got buckled in, and you didn't really get to see the twists and turns and the loops that came after you. And that's us. But what we did do is we stayed true to our mission, we worked hard, we took care of our members, and CMS awarded us a 5-star ranking, which is a huge honor, and we are so proud of that. But that doesn't stop us, because we actually have to keep moving into 2022. And we say, how do we keep what we've done well and what we've been recognized for and make better? So as you're going to see us all over in the media with our 5-star rating, we are the only 5-star rating in Central Oregon, so we're very happy about that. You will see us trying to grow. You'll see us working community health, as well as taking care of our members right with our mission statement. So cheers to a new year. Happy New Year, everybody, and we look forward to doing this with you all year long. Thanks so much. Oh, you don't want that.
Thanks, Julianne. You're awesome. You guys I was looking for you. I'm used to you being in front. I'm meeting with a new doctor, and actually she said every single patient that comes to her in 2022, she's checking their adrenals first, because 2021 was such a doozy. So just something to keep in mind, guys. That's you guys. That's all of us. Okay, thank you to Columbia Bank, a long-standing proud title sponsor of PubTalk, whose team is excited for the new year, a new PubTalk location here at Silver Moon Brewery. Okay, Kurt, you're back. Mr. BBK giveaway. What's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? That's a nice sound effect. Breaking glass.
BBK has been around longer than Bend has been a city, 130 years. Beverly Anderson. You here, Beverly?
Beverly Anderson, congratulations. BBK has been around longer than even Silver Moon Brewing. 1897 they were founded. Wow. All right, thank you to our title sponsors. We appreciate you so much, and it's so good to be here with you. So virtual attendees, listen up. Those of you watching from home, on the right side of your screen, there's a chat bar. Just type your questions and comments into the chat bar. They'll find their way to me, and that way you can participate, and we hope that you do, because we're really glad that you're tuning in from home. And for those of you here at Silver Moon, you just raise your hand. If that's hard for you, talk to Mary. She will show you how it's done. Right, so on to tonight's companies. The first update provided by supporting sponsors, BBSI. BBSI has been supporting businesses in Central Oregon for over 20 years with payroll, HR and recruiting, risk and safety, and business consulting services. BBSI is honored to sponsor PubTalk and partner with EDCO to support sustainable economic development in Central Oregon. The entire BBSI team wishes you a healthy and prosperous 2022. Hear, hear. And SGA CPAs has some exciting news to share with you all tonight in the flesh. EDCO Board President-elect Amber Yates, come on up, fill us in.
Hello? Oh, yes. Hi. So I'm Amber Yates, partner at formerly SGA CPAs, now Sensiba San Filippo, LLP. Everything Kurt Barker said, ditto. I'm not a title sponsor, so I'm going to get a hook if I take that long and I don't have any booze. But I was just going to say, we are super excited to bring a lot of new services to the business community. So we merged in December, so 15 days prior to your merger. Woo, woo. So we're living in merger hell right now, but we're really excited to bring a lot of new services to the community. We're a certified B Corporation. First certified B Corporation accounting firm in the state of California. We have a sustainability practice, a certified B Corporation practice, research and development, and a million more things. So hit me up, and I can tell you all the great new services we're bringing to the Central Oregon market, and done.
Ah, well done, Amber. You are going to get through it. Listen, if I can cross Greenwood Avenue at twilight in an unmarked crosswalk, you can get through this merger, all right? I believe in you. Congratulations to you and your team, and we look forward to seeing more of you and the new team later this year as you all survive tax season. Don't even say it. Well played with the B Corp. Okay, ladies up first tonight. So excited about this company update. Birdseed for Humans was established in Bend in 2017. Since then, the company has evolved into a granola brand unlike any other on the market, offering sprouted buckwheat granola with unique, delicious flavors like turmeric ginger, lavender cacao, and coconut maple. I love this product. Last October, founder and CEO Ashley Chase sold majority ownership of the company to strategic partners, so you're going to hear more about expand and build with backing from big names in the food industry. Help me welcome Ashley and hear more about Birdseed for Humans. Ashley, where are you? Oh.
You did my speech for me. What?
I love your granola.
Oh, thank you.
I really do.
Thank you. I'm Ashley, founder of Birdseed Food Co. We just recently switched the name to Birdseed for Humans to clarify the fact that it is indeed for humans, not birds. And yes, as Shannon said, we are the first sprouted buckwheat granola brand in the US, and the tastiest one at that. And I started here in Bend about 4.5 years ago, and I presented here, at McMenamins, shortly after I started, and I had no idea what was in store for me. Can you hear me? It's just blocking out, okay. Or no idea what I was doing. I still am figuring it out. No previous experience in the field, so, definitely startup, bootstrapping style. I just am one that likes to eat healthy and share my goodness with the rest of you all. And my story as the guy that first talked, Jim. Was it Jim? John. I'm not good with names. I had a baby and then lost my brain, or a good chunk of it. But anyway, John talked about perseverance, and that has truly been my story. I've had some exciting things happen in my brand. I got distribution throughout LA, got on Amazon, got a few Instagram followers, made people think that I was a big company when I really wasn't. It was just me, in my house, filling granola bags. But anyway, my story has been one of perseverance for sure. I've gone through a lot of challenges and failures, and just figuring out how to navigate through those challenges. And just to share a bit on those, I went through a product recall right after I launched. I had endless challenges with co-packers. Those are the ones that they're like a manufacturer for a food product. And it's really hard to work with co-packers. And on top of that, 2020 happened. And at the beginning of 2020, I found out I was pregnant, which has been the most exciting, amazing thing of my life. I love my daughter so much. But being a solo founder and a solo parent at the same time, not exactly cohesive. But also 2020 was just crazy in itself, and I knew, okay, if I'm gonna pull the plug, now is not the time, because there's so much craziness happening that, my mind isn't even functioning right. I don't sleep at night because I'm awake with a baby all night. So I knew that it wasn't the time to give up. There was plenty opportunities for that, but I just kept moving through that and making my with my being pregnant, baby on the back, family and friends. I exhausted all of my freebies. Everybody was like, "Why are we still doing this, Ashley? What are we doing?" But I was like, I can't. No, we gotta just don't even worry. We're just gonna keep going. It's gonna be fine. So through that, I was exhausting all of or just figuring out any and every option that I had. And through an email that I'd sent to an email list that I'm a part of, I met Tessa. Shout out to Tessa. She won't come up with me, but that's okay. She's cool. She's awesome. After our first one-on-one conversation on the phone, I was like, I don't know. It felt right. I'm not sure if it was the fact. She's ran 5 marathons, y'all. 10 people. Yeah, 5, right? Am I right? So I was like, okay, she's ran 5 marathons. She knows what it takes to like hustle. And also she has a super charming South African accent. So somewhere in there I was like, this feels right. This feels really good. And about, 4 or 5 months later of just going through everything, building our relationship, which I really appreciated. The fact that she was more, it wasn't just the numbers and all of the business stuff. It was the relationship between us and knowing that we were a good fit together. And I am so honored that her and her husband, and they brought on 3 other people that are so happen to have awesome accents as well. So I get to like have board meetings with Australians and New Zealanders and South Africans. Awesome. But just a little bit of a brag, her husband so happens to be the CEO of Dairy Gold. So they have some, experience in the field, and we're ready to take our company to the next level. And we are planning to further our accounts throughout 2022 and build the infrastructure for growth. And from there, we are hoping in 2023 to do a friends and family round for the first time and get some more people on board that are both strategic and financial investors. So we are excited to take this company to the next level, and I have to pinch myself every day because I'm so happy that none of the potential partners didn't work out. And if you know me, I've had a lot of other potential situations happen, and I'm so happy that they didn't. This is so perfect. I'm getting emotional. But yeah, I'm super stoked, and I'm happy to answer your questions.
Awesome. Ashley, I'm so proud of you. I remember when you launched your product. I'm a big Buckwheat fan. I like Buckwheat. It's just a thing. But so I think your product is amazing.
Thank you.
My favorite was the ginger turmeric, but now I'm thinking the coconut maple's where it's at.
I don't know.
I had a moment when you said you
I go in phases,
I'm
rotate.
going in phases too. I had a moment when you said you changed the name to clarify. I'm thinking cacao, lavender, birdseed for birds. That is way too fancy. If you just go that way a little, then I know I'm crowding you a little bit. I know. So what has been the best, if you think about your business in 2017, you think about your business now, what's the kind of best thing you could say that you're really enjoying about doing it the day-to-day now?
Not having to be entirely self-motivated. I have 4 or 5 other foreign people with charming accents on my ass about things, and I love it.
I love that answer. I love, being a part of a team is a totally different thing. So, questions from the audience for Ashley. Yes. Can we find Birdseed for humans locally? Yes, you can.
Absolutely. It's at Market of Choice and Newport Market. And I lost about 60% of my accounts during COVID because I had it at Jackson's Corner, Megaphone Coffee. So wherever you go, coffee shop or grocery store, request it.
Ask for it.
Please.
That is what I've heard. That's one of the most helpful things that people can do for
Absolutely.
A product.
Yeah.
Cool. Yes, sir, in the back. Sorry, can you say that again?
I think he said nutritional benefits of sprouted buckwheat.
Thank you. Great question.
So for me, I am a celiac. I'm glutarded. I can't have any gluten. And oats have cross-contamination issues with gluten, which I don't like to mess with, and I just feel better when I have sprouted buckwheat. So it's a great complex carbohydrate with a lot of fiber and plant-based protein and antioxidants. So it's like a step up. It's like quinoa similarly. So quinoa is better than oats, So buckwheat is better than oats.
Yeah, and when you sprout it, it becomes easier to digest.
Heck yeah,
right?
Sprouted. Yep.
So good. And buckwheat, actually, a lot of
makes
people
it
don't
taste
know
better,
this.
too.
It's delicious. It's actually a seed, but it
Absolutely.
kind of acts like a grain.
There's
Just like
it's
buckwheat nerds unite. Didn't expect this to happen, but here we
it's
are.
a pseudo cereal. Yes, sir.
What do you need at this point in your business to grow?
So we're figuring out logistics of how to accept orders like smoothly. So we're using like a wholesale partner online and distributors. Just it's hard to like still make money as a startup and have the infrastructure in place for growth at the same time. So we're trying to navigate through that. So logistics. What do we need, Tessa?
$1 million.
She's the one in finance. I'm marketing
Tessa,
and
$1 million?
sales.
Is that
Yeah.
maybe? If you had $1 million, what would you do with it? And that was a question for Ashley, not for me, right?
Tessa?
We can talk later.
Tessa, this is why it would be good to have you up here. We would put it towards, I'd say, infrastructure for growth. Because right now, like, yes, I can go out and do as much sales and marketing as I possibly can, but if we don't have the people on the back end, because I've been doing it all, you know? So if we don't have the people on the back end actually fulfilling those orders, it makes it difficult. So we're working on getting that in place.
We need sprouters. We need sprouters, people.
No, we have those.
Oh, okay. We need something other than
We need
sprouters.
shippers.
We need shippers. Any other burning questions for Ashley? Okay, so go find. Oh,
One more?
No, okay. Go find the product, market of choice, and what was
And
it?
ask for it everywhere you go.
Ask for it. Really ask for it. Like beg for it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm so proud of you and so excited to see what happens next, Ashley. Well done. I am also a newly. Let me see. How do I say this? I am. Did y'all know there's food here? There's like a lot of food here, and it's around the corner. So another thing they have, bathrooms for one, which I love. Feels like a green room. Ashley, thanks so much. Did you all know that EDCO is a based organization? Director of Events Heidi Hausner has been busy with new memberships, including also Advocates for Life Skills and Opportunities, Mansky Media, Remax Key Properties, Veronica Thiero, Stadnik, Nowerski Stadnik LLP, Syntech Consulting, Velomaki Inc., and upgraded member Coldwell Banker Bain Patty Dempsey. Thank you, everybody, for being a part of this. All right, tonight's second company update is sponsored by COAR, Central Oregon Association of Realtors, is the voice of real estate industry in Crook, Deschutes, Jefferson, and Harney counties. COR's members strive to build better communities by supporting quality growth, seeking sustainable economies, and housing opportunities. And Ben Broadband is honored to be a continued sponsor of PubTalk and proud to be a part of the Central Oregon community. Did you know that Ben Broadband has a business referral program so you can get rewarded for your business referral? So you go to benbroadband.com/business for details and get a side hustle going. All right, up next, one of my favorite people, Mr. Paul Evers, co-founder and CEO of Riff, among many other hats that he wears. Paul is no stranger to the PubTalk or BVC stages, and he's here to share Riff's unique approach to working with entrepreneurially oriented collegiate athletes in the emerging name, image, likeness, or NIL landscape. Riff is partnering with Phil Knight's Division Street and other prominent organizations in Oregon on a unique mentorship program collecting collegiate athletes and a diverse group of proven entrepreneurs, including pro athletes turned entrepreneurs such as Vernon Davis, who we got to meet with Riff at BVC. He's a charming man. All right, Paul, get on up here.
Well, okay.
Yes,
okay.
I know what you mean.
Is this better? Is this better? Okay, that's better. All right. Okay. How many of you were aware of what? I love this gap in sound on this microphone. It's really it creates a
It's like Mad Libs for speaking.
If it isn't the This is something else that we have to challenge with. So anyways, how many were familiar with NIL, or name, image, likeness for collegiate athletes? I have to do that. Okay, so about 5 of you. Thank you. I've been asked to give a little update on our unique approach to NIL. All right. The NCAA implemented new rules last June, and various states across the country have implemented new laws that allow for the very first time in the history of collegiate athletics for collegiate athletes to be able to profit from their name, image, and likeness. And this created this whole new landscape, and it's a bit of a Wild West out there. So in the state of Oregon, for example, deals might range from like $4 or $5, $10, something like that for a promotional post, to $100,000 for Kayvon Thibodeau, who is one of University of Oregon's top football players who's registered for the NFL draft this April. So this past October, actually Vernon Davis, Super Bowl champion, Riff investor, Riff advisor, Riff ambassador, came and spent several days with us here in Oregon, and 3 of those days were at the University of Oregon. We were invited by faculty of the Lundquist School of Business to come and guest lecture. I know, I feel your pain, Ashley. Guest lecture. But I got your name right. Guest lecture to business school students, whether MBA or undergraduate, by sharing Riff's story as an emerging beverage brand here in Oregon. And because we had Vernon Davis with us, we also got the opportunity to speak with student-athlete groups who are particularly interested in entrepreneurship or business. Now, back in May, we're actually approached by one of the top NFL athlete agencies in the country, representing some pretty big names, and they were interested in us potentially partnering with them on NIL engagements with student athletes. We were kind of interested, and this is the first time we kind of learned more about this opportunity, but the opportunity was pretty limited because they were exclusively focused on top NFL draft prospects, and it was football and it was male, and we were like, and the other thing was really bad, is they didn't have one Oregon athlete on their prospect list. Yeah, boo. So we said, I'm sorry, we're not doing that one. We're not doing that one. And then our experience at University of Oregon really inspired us, because one of the things that we learned is that with the University of Oregon, their student athletes, the #1 career interest for student athletes there at Oregon is entrepreneurialism. So that has had us thinking a little bit differently about how we could engage student athletes the name, image, likeness program. So we wanted to take a little bit more of an entrepreneurial approach and elevate it beyond above transactional in exchanging cash for posts or likes or other kind of social media activities. So we're excited. It's good timing because tomorrow actually we're going to finalize our first NIL deal with a top University of Oregon athlete, and I'll share with you what the basic terms of this engagement are. First is revenue share. So we're going to give each of our student athletes engaged in the NIL program with a unique discount code that they can share and drive traffic to our own direct-to-consumer channel on letsrip.com, and then they will get 50% of the revenue generated from the initial sale with these new prospects. The second one, which is really unique, is equity. What we want to do is we want to see the NIL athletes as true partners. So, what we're doing is we're going to be inviting them to participate in our incentive equity plan, which is a profits interest unit plan, so they can enjoy the upside in the benefit of how they're helping us build our business. And then the third thing is a mentorship program. We're partnering with Division Street, Bill Knight's Division Street, with OEN, Built Oregon, Black Founders Matter, on a very unique program connecting pro athletes turned entrepreneurs with these student athletes, such as Vernon Davis and Drew Bledsoe, as well as other entrepreneurs that are in the Riff ecosystem, like former Matt, come on, help me out here. Former President Anheuser-Busch, Dave Peacock, yeah? Switch with Shannon. It has nothing to do with trust, it's protocol. Thank you so much, Matt. Oh my God, this is so much nicer. Okay, so connecting with entrepreneurs, including a former a Riff advisor, former Anheuser-Busch President Dave Peacock, and also connecting the student athletes with the broader ecosystem of entrepreneurialism and founders, representing a diverse communities and a diverse set of sectors, such as consumer tech, apparel, CPG, and publishing. And so that program is currently being refined and developed, and we're working with those agencies and organizations to develop that. And so that's our take on NIL, and one of the things that they're most excited about is that these student athletes actually have the real opportunity to become partners with an early stage enterprise and enjoy the long-term benefits of their promotion of the brand. So I'm gonna just close with thank God for suggesting I switch the mics. Matt, thank you. And let's riff.
This is so cool. This is so cool. But before we get into question and answer, I just want to say, standing here on this tiny stage with you, Paul, I feel a very strong desire to do a lip sync battle, and I wish that's why we were here. And I just want to put that seed out there.
Well, I'll tell you what, lip sync would have been a lot smoother.
I know, because the mics would be
no
turned off.
No mic
no
needed.
microphones needed. Okay. So how did this even come about? Because this is kind of wild and a little bit revolutionary, yeah?
We're a small early stage enterprise. And one of the things that the agencies or people who are looking after these student athletes are excited about is the right sizing of the enterprise with the developing athlete, because these athletes are interested in entrepreneurialism. So we're not only engaging them with the consumer-facing side of building a brand, but the operational side of building a brand, so they get to develop, get some exposure to what early stage enterprise is like, the challenges, and the.
Oh, it's not me, is it?
Okay. Can you pick up where I leave off?
Yes.
Okay.
The challenges and the excitement.
But it's just, I think a lot of what John was talking about, Ashley, it's just being entrepreneurial in the approach and not just accepting the program as it stands as far as, a commodity approach.
So cool. It's so cool. Are there any specific athletes that you're really excited about right now?
Well, we have a docket, and so tomorrow we're going to finalize the agreement with the pilot, the lead NIL athlete. And I'm going to wait for somebody to ask who that is. Oh, who is it? It's one of University of Oregon's top women's or female basketball players.
Cool.
Okay, we're going to have guesses now. What was that? I didn't even hear that. Did you hear that?
Current or
Oh,
former?
current. I thought you were saying that a man's
Current
name.
player,
And I thought,
yeah.
No, okay, right.
I thought he was talking about Pilates.
Yes,
I wasn't sure. I was like, didn't know that was a pro sport.
Yes, current player on the women's basketball team. No, that'd be cool. Somebody over here said her name. Sedona Prince.
Woo!
Sedona Prince, if you don't know who Sedona Prince is, just Google her. She made a name for herself, and she pointed out the inequities between the men's weight room facilities and the women's at the NCAA March Madness
Get
tournament
that
last
sorted
year.
out.
So
Get
she's
that
been written up
sorted out.
out in New York Times. She's amazing. She's inspiring.
This is so
And she's
cool.
going to be an amazing partner.
This
so
is so
Sedona
cool.
Prince.
I just love this so much. Okay, any questions for Paul? Yes, in the back. Do you have moral turpitude or trait clauses? Get rid of?
Yeah,
Are we
yeah,
doing
yeah.
that?
Yeah,
Can
we
we
can
say
get
that
rid
in
of them.
public?
No, yeah, there's exit clauses on both sides. Yeah.
I mean, Oregon's
for
an
anything
at-will state.
egregious.
Sir,
For
in the hat.
anything egregious, because a lot of crazy stuff happens out there. Yes.
Well, yeah, like kind of following on what he was asking, you're talking a lot about like University of Oregon centric. If they enter the transfer portal, which I think Sedona did from USC, right? Like, would she then be out?
So if they enter the transfer portal, would that like change the contract? Are you Oregon only?
You're talking about the University of Oregon? Yeah. We're really focused on Oregon. We actually have some OSU athletes already signed up for our affiliate program. But their eligibility for this program will sunset once they're no longer eligible for NCAA or they go pro, or 2 years is the term that we're looking at.
God, I feel like we're like ESPN Live right now. I'm just like, sports, sports, sports. Oh my God, sports. Yes. Are you creating a format
Yes.
that other businesses here in
Yes.
Central Oregon could also adopt?
Yes.
That's a great question.
Yes. Yes. Can I explain more?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. You know, Riff is one brand. We want to establish this program. Really, it's really, focusing on mutual benefit, and so it would be very limited value to the student athletes if Riff was the only brand that was engaged. We're hoping that a whole plethora of brands will be engaged, but we're charting the footprint, or we're carving out the template.
I wonder if we could pilot a program for independent operating MCs. Like, hey, Ruff, where I have 2 dogs now. Any other question? Yes. Is this part of the Emerge program?
No, we don't need Emerge. No. It's a good program. That's the University of Oregon program. They're working, which is really excellent. Division Street is really more of a connector for us and connecting us to different ecosystems. We actually, just this past week, we signed as an advisor to Riff, the head of social media strategy for Whitening Kennedy, if you've heard of that agency. John Dempsey, he's a local guy here, and he's specifically going to be working and advising us and our student athletes on how to retain authenticity and not overly commercialize their personas as we're engaging in these NIL
Sports.
activities.
Sports. You, sir. How'd you come up with the name? He's thinking music, but you're
How did you come up with the
obviously...
name Riff? Riff, right? Not Sedona Prince?
Riff?
Okay.
Yeah.
Riff was inspired in the creative space. My background is creative services as well as many others on the team. Riff is really a term that we use for building on ideas. So if you say you take an idea and you riff on it, it taps into the same idea behind music and going with the flow. And so we're riffing on the NIL
riffing.
landscape.
We're just doing some riffing, a little bit casual riffing. Yes, ma'am.
So you mentioned the agencies that look after athletes, and so my question is, like, how do they find you, and what's the incentive to become one of your
So
I mentioned the
so
NFL.
So she's mentioning the agencies and what is the benefit to them to connect with you. Correct?
Right.
Did I get that right?
The NFL player agency reached out to us is because of the relationship with Vernon Davis, Super Bowl champion. So that's how they heard about us. Sedona is actually represented by the top female athlete agency, I think, in the country, called Wasserman. And we're dealing with some very, very brilliant people, really wonderful people there at the agency.
Like, this is something that's just going to, like, catch on. And, I mean, I'm sure it will take a bit of time to kind of, like you said, it's the Wild West, right? But I can see in maybe 2 years or 3 years that this could be like a very functional program.
Well, we hope that we can kind of reset the stage as to what this could be for student athletes as well as brands. As an early stage, like we've had meetings with top Nike executives, and said, Nike, a corporation like Nike can't do what we're doing, but we're early stage, so we have the flexibility and the ability to engage with them at this level. So so yeah, we're setting a new model, which is really great.
It's fun too, because I'm just thinking about these athletes like reaching out to their people, and they have a really fun new product that's not just shoes or cool jerseys or what sports people wear. This is very cool. It's very different.
We didn't mention what is Riff. I don't know if anybody knows what Riff is. What we make, I don't know. Yes.
Could Birdseed for humans potentially do something like this?
Birdseed, absolutely, for humans. Yes. Yeah, we're hoping. We're hoping to build, a cohort of brands around this idea.
Well,
Riff, by the way, is a beverage company, and we make a wonderful energy drink. It's natural, brewed from an upcycled, historically wasted byproduct of the coffee.
It's very delicious.
Yes, very delicious. That's the most important thing.
Organic, natural ingredients.
And wherever you go, make sure you ask for it, even if you don't know what it is.
Ask for it a lot.
And Birdseed and Riff.
They go really well together.
Yeah.
You could put the Riff in the I don't know if I would, but.
No, I don't want to mix up.
Well, Paul, this is awesome. It's wonderful to hear from you. I hope that you'll come back and check in with us again and give another update after things are getting going. And should people just be watching your social media to see how the pilot athlete?
And follow Sedona Prince. That'll be really exciting. Now, I'm really excited for the keynote.
I am too. I know. I am too.
Dan is a Riff supporter.
Don't call him up just yet.
Okay, I won't.
Okay,
but everybody knows who it is. Okay,
yeah,
great.
And he looks excited.
Okay, Shannon, thank you so much.
Thanks,
thank you
Paul.
for
It's always great to have you back on stage. Learn about the good trouble you're out there causing. You just don't stop. You can't stop, won't stop, and I really appreciate it. This is so exciting for student athletes. Well done. All right, so on to the keynote, sponsored by COCC. Central Oregon Community College provides workforce training that works, from career and technical education to apprenticeship opportunities, leadership workshops to the Small Business Development Center. COCC is the source for entrepreneurial, workforce, and business education services. Find out how COCC can help you develop the customized training you need to take your business and your employees to the next level. Contact COCC's Ken Betchart to learn more. And Ferguson Wellman and its division, West Bearing Investments, customizes investment portfolios for individuals and institutions, and recently began Octavia Group, a suite of personal financial services and family office offerings. For market updates and wealth management information, please visit and subscribe to their blog on their website, fergusonwellman.com. So, the moment you've all been waiting for. Under Dan's leadership, G5 evolved from a simple web marketing application into a complete suite of AI marketing technologies. The Bend-based company grew from one self-storage client into a huge platform servicing more than 600 customers and over 8,500 properties in self-storage, senior living, and multifamily housing. As a believer in supporting entrepreneurs, Dan co-founded the Bend Venture Conference and was instrumental in starting both EDCO's Venture Catalyst program and Founders Pad. I'm sure it goes without saying that EDCO is very pleased to finally welcome him onto the stage. Dan Hobin, G5 co-founder and former CEO. He's going to give us the G5 story and lessons learned. Dan, come on up. Such an honor to have you. Yes.
Whoa, it's bright. That light is bright. It's good to see everyone. Can I get Riff? And is this going to go in and out, this microphone? Can I get some Riff and some Birdseed granola or oatmeal? Yeah? Get some what? You got some? I need a little energy. Hey, it's good to see everyone, except for I can't really see you. I got a light in my face. It's good to see everyone here in person. It's been a while since we had an event like this in real life, and excited to see people. I hope it's not the super spreader event of the year, but thanks for showing up. Thanks for having me back. My talk is, there's about 3 parts to it. First, I'm going to give an overview of the G5 story from when we started the company 16 years ago to when we sold it last August. And I've got like 20 minutes to cover those 16 years, so it's going to be kind of high level. And as part of that, I'm going to cover or give an overview of the buyer of the company, which is RealPage, and how they tried to acquire us 4 different times. And then I'm going to share some lessons learned. And hopefully we will have some time for some questions at the end. Okay? For those that don't know, G5 is we built a marketing software platform that we use to sell services, marketing services to owners and operators of self-storage properties, senior living communities, and apartment communities. And all of those are rental properties that have good amount of turnover every month, and they need new leads and new tenants every month, and that's what we did. We helped them get those leads and tenants. Our platform was a suite of services that included websites and SEO and advertising and lead tracking and analytics. And we sold it on a subscription basis to people. We've got a couple of nice G5ers right here in the front row. Good to see you. And our clients would spend anywhere from $400 a month to a couple $1,000s a month per property. And in the end, we had close to 8,500 properties on the platform. And I always say it wasn't a very sexy business, but it was a good business to run from Bend, Oregon. So that's what we did. So quick story. My amazing wife and I, make sure you tell her I said that. My amazing wife and I moved to Bend in 2002 from San Francisco. I'd spent 10 years there during the dot-com days. I was involved in 3 startup companies, 2 that had gone public, and 1 that had crashed and burned. Of course, the one that crashed and burned was the one that I founded and started. It was a typical dot-com company. It was VC-backed. We raised $7 million over 3 years. Never really figured out our business model. Pivoted 3 different times. Had a lot of parties. Had a lot of fun. And it was kind of the typical dot-com. I learned a ton in that business. I call it my $7 million MBA, courtesy of Canaan Partners, the venture capital company that funded us. But no, you really do. You learn a lot from the things that don't work well. I think it set us up well. Can I get that microphone? This one better? And so anyway, it set me up kind of for the next deal and being a little bit more cautious on how we spent money the second time around. So then in 2004, 2005, or late 2004, I was in Bend, needed something to do. I had made a small investment in one of my brother's self-storage properties, and it wasn't doing very well. So I decided to dig in and see, what was going on. And what we found is that their marketing was terrible, or basically non-existent. And it wasn't just them, it was the entire industry that was terrible and behind. And a lot of people in 2004 and 2005, people were online, except for the storage industry they were laggards. And so we built a website for them, we optimized it a little bit, and we got really good results right off the bat. And it wasn't that we were that good, it was just we were better than everyone else than what everyone else was doing, and they weren't doing very much. So it wasn't really that difficult up front. It was kind of a land grab. So we stayed focused in the self-storage business for the first 3 years, and literally focused in it. And then one of our clients owned some senior living communities and wanted us to help them in that. And we said, sure, we can help you. And we expanded in that space. And then about a year later, we got into multifamily. Same thing, one of our clients that owns storage owns some multifamily properties. And we bootstrapped the company. So from the previous experience, I'd raised a bunch of money, too much money, and didn't. So this time I said I want to prove the business model first before we raise money. So we bootstrapped, and my co-founder, a guy named Greg Meyer, who was our CFO, was an amazing CFO, and we wouldn't be here without him, but he was really good at making sure we didn't overspend. And we would get a new customer, and get them live, and then we could hire an employee. And then we get another customer, get them live, and we could hire an employee. And that's how we grew for the first 5 years. We got to about $7 million in revenue in 5 years. We were growing fast. We had just entered the multifamily space, which was a big market and a little bit more competitive. And we didn't have any cash on the balance sheet. We were just kind of spending receivables, basically, and we needed capital to grow. So we decided to go out and raise money. We hired an investment bank, and we went out and we had a lot of interest, and we raised $15 million at $20 million pre-money, so $35 million post valuation, and it was really good. We were able to de-risk a little bit, so Greg and I will take a little bit of money off the table, which is nice after not paying ourselves very much for the beginning. And then, but most importantly, we put some cash on the balance sheet. And so we had some fuel to grow. Then we did what I think a lot of businesses do. We took an extremely capital efficient business and we threw the model out the window and we started spending money. So private equity guys came on board. We picked Volition Capital out of Boston as a private equity partner. And private equity guys, they want you to grow. The way you create value is growth. And so we thought, in order to grow, we got to hire. And so we went from 60 to 120 employees in 6 months. And we grew too fast. And the wheels started falling off the bus. And we had all kinds of problems. I made some bad hires that hurt us. We promoted some really good people in the company, promoted them to managers. And they had no management experience. And we had no management training. And that was challenging. With a woman that I brought on to run sales convinced me that we needed to move from a vertical sales focus to a horizontal go-to-market strategy, which was a bad idea, and we did it. We moved into new offices, and by doing that, we were spread out, and we were on different floors and in different sections, and so all of a sudden, we had these natural silos within the company, and so you felt a lot of that pain with silos. We had a big sexual harassment lawsuit against one of our executives that was unfounded, but we had to spend a ton of time and energy defending it and working against it. And we just had a lot of growing pains. And it was a tough year and a half. Believe me, it's not fun, especially when you got new private equity guys on board that are expecting you to grow, and you're having this. And then good employees get frustrated, and they start leaving. And then you lose customers, and retention rates drop. And then our business that was a fast-growing business for the first 5 years just growth stalled. And it was tough. It was a tough time. And so put our head down. That was when growth stalled for the first time. Put my head down, fired some people, unwound some things that we had done. And in about a year and a half, we got it back. We got it going again, and we got the growth rate back up. And that was a good thing, but it was tough. It was a painful time. And we got the growth rate back up, and then so we were about 8 years into the business at that time. And RealPage is a big software company out of Dallas. They were doing kind of a roll-up play in the space, buying a lot of companies. So they came knocking at the door and said, "We want to buy you." And we said, "Nah, we're not ready for sale." And they said, "No, we want to buy you." And so we shared some financials, and they came out, and they threw out a number. And we said, "No, it's not good enough. Go away." So they went away. And then 3 months later, they came back, and they increased their offer by $20 million. And so now it looked a little more attractive. And so it was about 2x what we had done with the private equity round 3 years before, or a couple years before. So I was tired. We'd gone through this 2.5 year period of that's our first turnaround. And I was like, I talked to the private equity. I said, "Listen, you can make 2x money. It's not huge, but you've only been in 3 years. Let's do this deal." And those guys listened to me, which was good. And so we signed the LOI, and we started the diligence process. And I don't know if anyone's been through acquisition due diligence, but it's tough. And these guys, it's like put on the rubber glove and come at you. And we weren't as a kind of a fast-growing company, we weren't necessarily buttoned up at that time. So it was tough, and it was a grind, and they spent 60 days going through every contract and vendor agreements and all of our source code, and and people have been through it. No, it's tough, and they had a reputation for for retrading deals that they were at the end, and I knew a couple guys that had sold their business to them, and they warned me. And so when we signed the LOI, I told them, I said, if you guys you have a reputation of retrade. If you try to retrade, we're not going to do this. And sure enough, 2 weeks before the deal, they came back, and they're this big company, and they're at the time, and they're like, and they say, oh, we found all this stuff in diligence, and we can't do the deal as is, but if you move some of this into an earn-out, we can. And I was like, fuck you, we're not doing it. And it's good. But meanwhile, though, back at the company, so what's happened is when you're doing a deal, when you're involved in a deal, you lose focus of running the business. And the management team was kind of working on the diligence and all this, and all of a sudden we get all these challenges. And employees found out we were selling the company, and employees are just getting frustrated, like what's going on? And then employees start leaving again, and then customers are not happy. Retention rates come down, and growth stalls for the second time. So put your head down, go back. We got to fix this growth problem, and because again, value is all about growth. So we hired some people, moved things around. Probably took about another 1.5 years, 2 years, and we got the growth rate back up again. And customers were happy, retention rates went up, and started adding, winning more big deals, and we started growing. And about that time, so now we're about 5 years into the Volition hold. Okay, so Volition had been an investor for 5 years, and the private equity guys, they're typically in for 3 to 5 years. Their goal is to make 3x to 5x returns in 3 to 5 years. And so they say, hey, listen, growth rate's up, things are looking well, things are looking good. Let's test the market. So we hired some bankers, went through a process, we went out, we had a lot of interest. A lot of interest from the private equity sector, not necessarily the strategics, but private equity. And we picked another private equity company out of Philadelphia called Peak Equity Partners. So the first PE firm I had was Volition out of Boston, and the second one was Peak Equity out of Philly. And my strategy was, if you're going to partner with private equity, you want them as far away as possible, so they don't come into your office every month looking at you and checking at you. And it actually worked really well. It's hard to get from Philadelphia to Bend, Oregon. And so they'd come out once or twice a year, which is good to keep them away. But they were good people. We really liked them. In particular, they had one partner who was the CEO of a company that had grown the company over 20 years and sold it, and had a lot of hands-on operating experience, and I thought that was really valuable. And and he and I got along well, and in fact, I could pick up the phone and call him whenever I had a question. And they helped us. They really did help us a lot over the next 5 years. We had new capital on the balance sheet. We were able to de-risk, again, at that time, pull money out. They bought kind of majority of the business. Greg Meyer, my partner, got to retire at that time, and I agreed to stay on and run it for them through the next transaction. Their goal was to grow it and sell it within the next 5 years. So we had a new board, new PE firm, and they wanted to grow. So often the PE firm's model is they come in and say, the way we're going to grow is we're going to upgrade the executive team. Not me, but the executive team. And and at the time we had a couple, some vacancies. So I needed to hire a new, Greg Meyer retired, I needed to hire a new CFO, needed to hire a new head of revenue, needed to hire a new head of marketing, and we lost our head of HR at the time as well. So we had all these openings. So we went out, and our goal, or my goal, was to try to hire people who had kind of been there, done that at that stage of our next stage of growth, which was going to be 20 million I forgot that part. We had grown from 7 million the first time to 20 million when we did that round. So the next phase was to try to find people that had been there from 20 million to 50 million growth and had that experience, and that was the intention. And I didn't necessarily do that. We tried, but so oftentimes when you're hiring in Bend, it's tough. You can't always get what you're looking for, especially people with SaaS experience in that stage. So we ended up, we made some good hires, got some good people that came out of larger companies, a few out of big enterprise companies. And And it was good. And we had a couple of really good years then where we grew and we put new systems in place. We were kind of growing up as a business, and it was good. But we also had some kind of cultural challenges. We had people out of these big, I think it's hard to go from a several billion-dollar company to a $20 million company, and we felt it after a couple of years. So a few years into it, wheels started falling off again, and we started running into challenges again. And good employees started leaving, good customers started leaving, retention rates dropped, and growth slowed for the third time. So that was tough. And actually, right before that, right at the beginning of that, I forgot this part. RealPage came back again. Said, we really want to buy you this time. For this is the third time they came back. Said, we want to buy you, share some numbers with us. We're really and we said, listen, last time around, you guys wasted so much of our time. If you can hit this number, we'll talk to you. And they said, no, we can't hit that number. So they went away, and we saved a lot of time. So when you're working for a PE firm, right, things are great when you're hitting your numbers, right? They love you. But when you miss, they're not so happy. You miss one quarter, they may give you a break. You miss 2 quarters, and things aren't good. You miss 3 quarters, and your life as a CEO was freaking living hell. And we missed 3 quarters. And they were all over us. Then they started coming from Philadelphia to Bend and kind of wanting to get, and it was tough. And we had a lot of things going on at the company, some internal turmoil and just a lot of growing pains still, scaling issues. But it also happened that about that time, one of our executives wanted to go overseas and went overseas, and then another one wanted to move back to New York. And so it gave me an opportunity to kind of rebuild the team. And so I went out and did some hiring again, and this time I got lucky, or not lucky. Hopefully, I had learned from a few times, and it paid off. But I hired first a CFO. We hired a guy named Kelly Lang who was moving to Bend, and he was really, really good as the CFO. He had worked for 2 private equity companies that he grew in Portland. They were private equity-backed companies, not private equity-backed software companies, and he helped grow them. And he came on board, and I was, so what happened, he was building a house, and he was planning on retiring in Bend. And I met him, and we hit it off, we had a good time, and I told him that his golf game wasn't that good, and he's not gonna get that much better at golf, and he can't retire, and he needed to come work for me for 3 days a week and help us get this thing growing again, and that there was a chance that we would sell it in the next couple of years and he could do well. And he signed up for it. And it was good. And I was happy. And we were lucky to have him on board. So he came on board, and as good CFO, he cut costs right away, which we needed to do. When he started, we had 280 employees. And about a year later, we were down at 250. And we managed that mostly through attrition, but some that we had to manage out. But we were more efficient as a business with fewer employees and more profitable, which is what a good CFO does. And then I also hired a new chief revenue officer, a guy named Doug Johnson, who was a Seattle guy and had been there, done that at this stage of growth, and was really good as a sales leader. He had actually been sales leader in the soda company and then been the CEO of a company as well. And so I told Doug, I said, listen, there's a chance that we're going to sell this in the next couple of years. You come on board, and once we sell it, I'm out of here, and there's a good chance that you could run the company. And he liked that and signed up for it. And he was a strong leader, a good, all about teamwork, team player, good at it. And so anyway, he came on board, and again, we got the thing turned around and grown again, and it was fun. We started winning again. We started having more fun, having more parties. We had a lot of parties at G5. I don't know if you guys know, but we right? We like a lot of companies will have a kegger. We full bar, and it was fun. If you ever went out downtown, like any night of the week, you could go by G5 late night, and there was probably people there hanging out it was fun. But anyway, we got it growing again. It was fun. The company is good, and everything is good. We're growing, and we're profitable. And I was like, wow, we're finally taking a breath. And then COVID hits. It's like, damn, 3 turnarounds, and then COVID hits. And we didn't know what was going to happen. It was times were weird, right? It was like no one knew. People were hoarding toilet paper, right? It was like, what the fuck's going on? And so luckily my CFO, how we doing? We good on time? All right? Yeah. So our CFO came on board. It came to me and he's like, Dan, we got to cut costs. I'm like, okay. And he said, we don't know how bad this is going to be. We got to cut costs. So, like, you know, a good CFO will use any excuse they can to cut costs. And COVID was perfect. I mean, it was like a CFO's dream. Like, we could cut costs. And so you couldn't argue with him, right? It was, times were weird. So we did a short little hiring freeze at the time. Just very short because we had a couple 250 employees, so we had to, as people left, you had to keep hiring. We cut all travel and trade shows. They were actually cut for us by being canceled, but we were able to save a lot of money by doing that. We cut our 401k match plan, which, yeah, it was tough. People didn't like that, but it was COVID. We cut our first half bonuses to all employees and the exec team and management. It was tough. But then the biggest thing is, you know, everyone had to work from home, which I hated. But we were, our lease was coming due, and I was really close to signing a new 10-year lease for 50,000 square feet at the Ben Bulletin building. And COVID hit, and we didn't do it. And then everyone's working from home, and then our lease is coming due, and we ended up going from 45,000 square feet downtown to 15,000 square feet in the old mill, and saved about $1 million a year in rent. So that was good. COVID, that was one of the good things. So anyway, so we cut a lot of costs, which is good. And then a couple months later, we find out that our customers are actually doing okay. We didn't really get affected. They got hit. The storage market got hit, and then it came back really strong, and it's been the strongest it's ever been since. And multifamily got hit, and then it came back, and it's also been like record growth and rent increases and so forth. Senior living got hit really hard, and they struggled. It was the worst. The business got the worst kind of it ever was. Occupancy rates dropped to 80%, worst it ever was. But they all got PPP money, and everyone continued to pay us. We didn't. We never no one ever not paid us. So we got really lucky. And we actually started growing the business in 2020. And we were lucky to be, you know, the type of business that you need. Marketing you can't cut. We applied for a PPP loan. We got approved for $4 million, and we were signing documents. And we said we can't do this. We didn't take it. We sent it back. Said we can't take this money. We didn't need it, and that was good. Yeah, it was good. So then by the end of 2020, growth was good. We had cut a lot of costs. Profitability was the best it's ever been. The company was looking really good. Peak X had been in 5 years. They said, listen, it's time to go test the market. So we hired a banker, ran a process, and RealPage ended up being the biggest, highest bidder. And actually what happened is RealPage it was a public company, and they had been taken private by a private equity group called Thoma Bravo. And Thoma Bravo is a huge software private equity group. And they bought RealPage for $10 billion, and their plan was to go do a bunch of add-on acquisitions. And we were their first one. They closed their deal. They closed in April, and we signed our deal 3 months later in July. So RealPage, their first came to us in 2013. Their first offer was $50 million, which we turned down. They came back 3 months later and offered us $70 million. That's when we signed the LOI and almost sold it. And thank God that 2 weeks before they tried to retrade, and we blew out of that deal. And then the third time they came around, I threw out a crazy number, and they said no, they didn't take it, so we never really got there. But then the fourth time, we had grown the business to about $45 million in recurring revenue, and they paid us just under $300 million for the business, a little over 6 times revenue, and 6 times greater than the first offer they gave us. So if you have a business, hold out for the fourth offer. So we, almost done. So we signed the definitive agreement July 25th, and then when a deal's over $100 million, you have to do it's called an HSR, government antitrust period, a 30-day period to make sure there's no antitrust in the deal. And so we were scheduled to close August 26th, and we were moving to close August 26th. And I tell people that. So I had been kind of heads down, grinding on the business. Not me, but the entire team, all of us grinding on growing the business, turn around, grow, turn around, grow, turn around, grow, turn around, grow, COVID, grow. And we finally, picked the bankers. We decided we're going to sell it, go through the process. If you go through the process, preparing to run a process is a lot of work. And then you got to go through the kind of road shows. Fortunately, they were all on Zoom, so we didn't have to travel. But all the road shows, all the different pitches, so forth. You go through that, and you pick the buyer. Then you negotiate the deal, grind through all that. Then you diligence, all the diligence, sign the deal, and we did the HSR stuff. And we're getting to the kind of where we're supposed to close. And we had taken my oldest son to college back east, and we were supposed to go visit some friends in Virginia. And this is a couple days before we were supposed to close our deal. And anyway, my wife, Sarah, after this, she's got a really bad headache and a bad cough, really bad cough. And then I got a bad headache, and we're supposed to go stay at some friend's house. I'm like, we should get tested, and we both test positive for COVID. And so we're in some random hotel in Virginia, and both of us were like not feeling great. And anyway, and then the next day was the closing call, and it's a pretty cool call if you be on a closing call. So the lead attorney driving the deal has everyone's on the call. So our attorneys and the Peak, the seller, and Peak, our private equity guys, and RealPage, and Thoma Bravo, and Goldman Sachs did the funding, and everyone's on, and it goes around, and he's, he asked everyone, did you release your signature, but you approve of the deal, basically. Everyone approved of the deal, and he said, congratulations, your deal is done. You closed the deal. And I was sitting there and feeling like shit, and in bed, and I hung up the phone, and I looked at my wife, and I had tears in my eyes, and it's like, I didn't know if I was happy or sad, but I had a bad headache, and the deal was done. It was over. Sold it. So, I got some lessons learned to share, and then we can do some questions. And there's nothing really profound here, and I think you've probably heard most of these, but I'll share them anyway because I think if there's entrepreneurs in the room, it's good to hear these and good advice. I always share this one, but now I always say hire stage-appropriate people. I do this by hiring. If you hire people that come from big companies down to small companies, it often doesn't work. It's always good to find people that have been there, done that at that stage of growth. I think that's really important. And when you do make a mistake and you hire the wrong person, you guys know this, but correct it as soon as possible. The longer you wait, the worse it is for everyone, for you, the company, the person, the individual. So fix the mistake when you make a hiring mistake. 2 is stick with your gut, right? Pretty basic, but it's amazing how you can kind of, as a CEO, kind of forget that. When we did our first deal with Volition, I brought on this new woman to run sales out of the enterprise world, and she was convincing me that we had to move to this horizontal sales model from a vertical model. And I was kind of like, well, she's got more experience than I do, and so I'm like, doesn't feel right, and we did it, and it was a huge mistake. And I had to fire her, a year later to unwind it, and it was painful. And so it's like you stick with your gut. And then another time when I was hiring our chief revenue officer a few years ago, Doug Johnson, and the board had a candidate that they wanted to hire, a guy out of the East Coast, and he wasn't a good fit for the business. And Doug was a really good culture fit, and I liked him a lot. But the board, the entire board, there's 5 people on the board, 4 people wanted the other guy, and I wanted Doug. And we battled for about 3 weeks. And finally I said, listen, if you guys want to hire your guy, go ahead, hire him. But you better hire a new CEO too, because I'm leaving. And next day they call and they go, you can hire your guy. I was like, whoo, thank God. And thank God Doug worked and delivered. He was good. And it worked. And they've never said anything about it, but that was a big battle. But it was like, I knew right here, he was the right fit for the company. The other guy it would have been terrible. We wouldn't have sold it. The third advice for CEOs is don't beat yourself up too much. I think a lot of people who run businesses do this. And I kind of learned this probably best through, I was part of Vistage, which is a great organization. If you're not in it, you should try to get into it if you're a CEO. It's a CEO group. We met once a month. We had a really good group in Bend of CEOs. And I loved going to my Vistage meeting because I could listen to all the other CEOs' problems. And I was like, God, it's so nice to know that I'm not the only guy with problems. And every business has challenges and problems. And it's just, and I think a lot of times you're just really hard on yourself. And a fast-growing business doesn't grow without having challenges. And so, we were hard on our executive team was hard on us. I was hard on myself. And then when we did the deal with RealPage and we were merging with this other division, and we're like, what a shit show. And we're like, God, we were really good, and we were beating ourselves up for so long. And anyway, so don't beat yourself up too much. This is a fun one that I like that G5ers always give me grief on, but I used to say, don't confuse selling with delivery. And you got to sell. You got to get out and sell, and then you'll figure out how to deliver the product. But the other side of that is a lot of companies will go out and they'll invest a lot of money trying to build a product and then go see if they can sell it. And they'll spend 2 years building a software product and they go see if they can sell it, and no one wants to buy it. And so my approach is, listen, let's go sell it first and build slides and mock-ups and so forth and sell it. And if they buy it, then we can build it. And I think that you got to do that when you're building software. Otherwise, or any product, you got to go test the market, sell it, and then figure out how to build it. And then last is, this is the most important. You guys are going to like this. Listen to your front line, okay? And as a CEO, it's hard. A lot of people in the company will just kind of kiss your ass and tell you stuff they think you want to hear and not tell you the truth. And your salespeople, especially, they'll tell you how great everything is, kind of. Or they're always, they're just salespeople. But your account managers, the people that work with your customers every day, they know the customers, and they know where your problems are within the business. And we went to a lot of trade shows, conferences and trade shows, and my favorite thing to do was go with the trade shows and get the account managers drunk in the bar late night, and they would open up. They'd open up and tell me, like, who I needed to fire within the company and who was doing that. And you learn so much from your account managers. And anyway, listen to them. And that's what I got.
Thank you. I'm going to creep on you just a little bit, if you don't mind. I'm going to hug this way a little bit. Dan, your wife is exceptionally lovely. I taught your children yoga when they were in preschool.
Oh, good.
And I loved your lessons. They were deeply profound. Thank you. This has been wonderful. I'm so curious. This is a huge deal. The entire town is like rooting for you. How's your life different now than it was before the deal?
I sleep. It's funny. So after we closed the deal, I called the M&A guy at RealPage, and I said, this is like the day it closed. I said, I was going on to a consulting agreement. I said, so when's my last day? When's my official last day? When do I move to consulting agreement? And this is August 26th. He's like, September 1st. And I was on vacation, so I was done. So I was like, wow, I'm out. So I've been out since September. It's been really good. How's it going over there? Yeah, it's good. Actually, what I do want to say one thing because I didn't mention that. The buyer was RealPage, and they had a division that we were merging with. But the good thing is they kept our team is driving the integration, and they're keeping the Bend office, and our management team is driving the integration. They have a division in San Diego that's kind of rolling into the Bend. So I didn't have any control over that. I wanted that, and I'm really glad that that's how it's good.
Cool.
Still there. Right, exactly. But my life is, I don't know, I'm working on a new project.
Oh, really? Can you say more?
It's early still. Doing research in the wildfire fuels reduction space.
Ooh,
it's good. We need it. We need to do a lot of wildfire fuels reduction. Cool. So if anyone wants to talk about that, I'm super passionate. I've done more research on that in the last 4 months than probably anyone. And it's interesting. It's an interesting space. I don't know what I'm doing in it yet, but we're doing something.
I just love that you're like trust yourself, you trust your process. It's really inspiring. I know we have probably lots of questions, so I will look to the audience. Any questions for Dan? You just stunned everyone. Yes, sir with the glasses. Interesting question. Okay, let me just recap. So you built this culture over many, many years, and then COVID hits. You downsize your office. Most people are working from home. If you were going to start another big company, would you want everyone in the office, or would you look to a hybrid model? Or
I'm a big culture guy. I hated the work from home. I was like a little kid when the governor would send the emails. I was fighting it. Our general counsel, I'd say, no, we're not doing that. And I got overruled by my general counsel. I am a big believer in culture and bringing people together and building teams, and I would 100% do it in the office. Now, there's a lot of businesses that you don't need to do that, and they work great remotely. I think it depends on the type of business, but I'd push for get everyone together. It's just more fun.
Yeah, it's like how much money do you want to spend on toilet paper? I don't know.
There's when you're in a room and you have a whiteboard and you're riffing, right? And you're riffing, you're drinking some Riff energy drink, and you're riffing, and like there's just like stuff happens, right? And you can't do that on Zoom. So it's my opinion.
That's a great answer. Yes. So for your G5 Gives program, your giving program, how important was that to the culture, and what happened to that program when you sold?
So it was hugely important to grow in the business. We were here. We did not negotiate it in. It didn't come up in the deal. I don't know. How's it going? We don't know. They're still trying. We don't know yet. We still in the budget. 2022 budget. We gave a lot of money away. We did a ton of events every year. And it was really important to us. We wanted to be a good part, as part of our values, be a good corporate citizen, right? And we did. We did a ton in Bend. I don't know. They're out of Dallas. Do a little bit. I think there's still some unknowns right now.
I love a person who can speak full sentences without any words. Yeah. There's a lot happening. Yeah. So there's a lot happening. It's in transition. Okay. Anybody else? Yes. What did you do to center yourself throughout all the ups and the downs?
Drank a lot.
I have a follow-up question. This is a question.
No, it's you know what? I have three kids, 3 boys, 18, 16, and 14. And trying to find balance in like running a company and a wife, an amazing wife, and 3 kids, and a dog, and a board, and employee. It's hard. It is really, really hard. I did a lot of the balance wheel exercises to try to kind of balance myself, keep balance, but it's tough, really tough.
Would you do it all again?
No, not now. If I was, not now, but 20 years ago, I'd say yes, do it again, but
fair.
I wouldn't do it
That's
now.
Very fair.
I'm too
That's
old.
Very fair. Yes. New company's great. Care. We can confirm.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Doing great. Dan secured a lot of great things for the people. She's sitting right here. She's here cheering you on. Yeah. You did good. You did good.
I think anything could happen when you go sell a company. It could be any type of buyer. It could have got shut down easily because we're moving it out of Bend. The fact that we've got all and unfortunately I didn't have this. In the previous deal, I had the say in that matter, but on this last deal, I didn't have the say of if the private equity guys owned more than I did. And so they could have said, screw it, we're selling to whoever, highest bidder, and it's going to move. We got really lucky with who the buyer is and how it's worked out for G5. And I'd like to take credit for it, but whatever, we got lucky.
I mean, I think it's amazing you still have hair, to be honest. This is a harrowing, this was like a very dramatic, a lot of ups and downs. You were holding a lot. You look great. When you talked about like the upgrading the executive team, I was like, is that like eyelash extensions? Like what is, I don't know, this seems like kind of a strange thing. Yes? You had opportunities to diversify a lot. How did you stay in your own lane? How did you stay focused on what you were doing?
Yeah, that's a good question. We actually, it was the first couple years when we were in storage, we were bootstrapping, so we didn't really have the resources to kind of go beyond. And part of our success was, how could we consistently deliver results in a replicable way that's easy? And so we were kind of just like limited. And I think by bootstrapping a business, maybe is the answer here, that versus raise a bunch of money up front. When you're in front, we can go do this, and a lot of people make mistakes by doing that. And so we didn't have an option. We just kind of stayed laser focused. And then, but we were in 3 verticals, and actually it was tough being in three because you do software integrations in each one, and you spread yourselves thin. And in hindsight, I was like, God, I wish if we'd stayed in one, but the buyer came from the last one, so it's probably good that we moved to multifamily.
Someone was looking out for you. Any other questions? Yes. So specific to management, like what are the most important things you would tell companies? Because this is, I agree, this is a really important topic.
Some people probably won't like this answer. People, if we hired people out of Microsoft, and that was a big mistake. It didn't work. All right, huge company, and they wanted to move to Bend, and it didn't work. And I was in front of like, we're never hiring anyone out of Microsoft. All right, I'd say the way it works is you hire you want people who are hungry to move up in their careers. So you take a director that wants to become a VP, or that. I think that you have much more success, especially at the early stages of a company, where depending from like 0 to 20 or 20 to 50 million. I think you're going to have much more success doing that than getting someone out of a big company. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, we've all worked for companies that put people in management positions that are not managers. It's a very it's a unique role, right? Not many people are truly good at being managers.
Right.
Yeah. But there's a lot of them out there, isn't there? Okay, well, anyhow. Any other questions? Any other questions? Yes. Okay, so it sounds like from the outside you found the entrepreneurial dream. Do you feel like a success?
So I was out September 1st, and I may not look it, but I'm young. I think I'm young. 53, that's young in my mind. And I'm like, I'm not retired. And my kids are like, Dad's unemployed. He's like, are you collecting unemployment? So I read a book. Okay, there's a book called Halftime. And the book says your first half is all about success, great grind, success. And then you have the middle, it's a halftime where you make your second half game plan. And your second half has to be about significance and giving back. And so that's why I'm doing the work in the wildfire fuels reduction space. But I think that there's something bigger going to happen. I don't know what it is, but that'll be more significant than G5.
I just got chills. I think that's such a great place for us to close tonight. I so appreciate you sharing your story with us. I know a lot of people are going to want to connect with you and chat with you. Aaron, we have one more since it's you. Have you heard of Venture Catalyst, a role at Edco? Have I
heard of it?
Have you heard of this? Does this any bells ringing, Dan? Are you feeling anything right now?
Yes, I've heard of it.
Dan just blacked out, Aaron. Good job.
Yes.
Again, Dan, thank you so much. The
All right,
whole
thank you.
town is rooting for you. How about another round of applause for Dan Hobin? Oh, Dan, my God. Dan, I got a gift for you. I forgot. It's our tradition. We give you a stein. You can bring this back next time. You can fill it up with beer. You can go fill it right now. I just ask them to rinse it, you know. Give it a rinse. Thank you. So for those of you not quite ready to go home, good news. Silver Moon is hosting its weekly Thursday night trivia outside. It is 4 degrees, so, you know, suck it up. Thank you again to Steve and the entire team here at Silver Moon for hosting PubTalk. This feels really good, doesn't it? This is fun. And of course, to Chicken Strut for feeding us, one of the 4 on-site food trucks here at the office, which is out back. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, please do. Assuming we get invited back, PubTalk is set to return to Silver Moon on the 4th Thursday for the next 5 months. That takes us all the way through June. So the keynote lineup, it's coming in hot. It's really taken shape. We are covering different industries, and we're really excited to share diverse wisdom with you all. EDCO's annual luncheon planning is also underway, so watch for that date to land in your inboxes. It's typically a February event, but you'll have to find another way to celebrate your Valentine's because we're going to push it back. And News and Brews is also brewing in Redmond this spring, so listen up for that date to be announced. My friends, good night. Thank you for making your way out. Thank you for supporting EDCO and PubTalk. I'm Shannon Kelly. I will see you next month. Thank you, thank you.